Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Guitar Safari.
I'm having a moment.
You'll be with us in a moment.
Catchy tune, Carol. Catchy tune.
I wonder where a fella got that.
I don't know. A fella snagged on that tune somewhere. I don't know.
Snagalicious.
Do some home renovating.
Good morning, friends and guitar family.
Something like.
Oh, so here we have it. We are working on this idea of the Brotherhood of the guitar.
I'm on a boat today.
You know, being in bands and the breakups and the best friends and all those relationships that you form through your association with guitar and our obsession with it, right?
Yes.
So
I saw the title, Charles, and I thought, you're describing me. Band breakups, check. Best friends, check. So then that's when you got a text this morning saying, hey, you know how I told you I was going to invite myself on every once in a while? Well,
and it seems super dickish if you're like, no, you can't come on with friends. I'm sorry, man, but you've taken it too far, right?
Yeah.
That's not how we roll.
Banned from the channel. Great.
Right now, dude, Ben, you are the man, dude. You're welcome to. You are a safari wizard. I mean, be welcomed and be. Thank you so much for the friendship. I mean, to be in that loop is a big deal.
Charles, I have a question.
No,
Can I do roll call?
Oh, of course, I'd be honored.
Save on a fella. All right, we're gonna go right to the top.
Breakdancing.
So according to my timestamp, Eastern time, 8:14 this morning, and because I will be his timestamp as well. Herb of Fireside Studio, just saying, that's in there. He's got the caffeinated cold snack or warm snack. Usually
warm snacks.
And then we've got Dennis Ellis. He says number 2 today, and no band practice. Don't panic. Charles and Seth, I'll behave. Well,
it's all good. Then
we got Brother Tom, Guitar Safari. Exactly. Then you got some guy named Charles 75N. Never heard of him.
That dude, he's weird.
Paul McCary and 13 of the 14 cats. One's protesting for something. I don't know. Just one in every crowd. Our music in law, Ryan Hall, hailing from Tennessee / Alabama, depending. We don't know. Let's see. There's Symmetry. He's awake. Whoa, that's 3 Sundays in a row, right?
Dude.
Did he get the pool put away?
He's
putting the pool away as of last night. Still trying to get the pool put away. Who else we got?
Symmetry was on the Facebook pages, which I go to because I'm of a certain age. And we were chatting a little bit about stoic, how he believes in some of those mantras too, and how wake up, face the day, do the challenge. Although we say it and then we're like,
much like the California attitude, Vancouver and Greater Vancouver area, that's where all of our hippies are. So same thing. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Michael Krause is here. That's an honor that Michael Krause has graced us with his presence.
Yes.
Bird Murphle, the Grand Poobah himself.
Fuck yeah.
My brother.
What up, my burf?
William's got a new video out jamming on a guitar-shaped object, because that's how that works. Speaking of guitar-shaped object owners, Octopus Ears also put out a video recently. I think playing on that new to him vintage Kramer. It's weird when you say, Seth, new vintage. Well, no, it's one or the other. But if you just snagged on it, it's new to you. But it's vintage, so it is a new vintage.
All you need to do in that instance is put the word "my" in front. My new vintage.
There we go. Okay.
And you're good. That's because
I remember talking to being a car guy, Seth, a racer buddy of mine, right? He says, I put a new transmission in the race car. And I looked, and I could see the 75,000 miles of grime on it. I said, that's not a new transmission. He says, well, it's new to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, or you probably I've had people that replaced all the internals, and it's like, so it's a new assembly, but it's in the old housing. So you're like, you did what? I know that color green. You painted that like a year ago.
Exactly. William Bologna, Gear Junkie 35, also joining us. Janice Lala doesn't know which way's up or down. Been there.
I'm on a boat.
Hip Metal Works. Nice.
Hip.
Man, you guys pull in a lot from the West Coast considering the time of day you're on. It's probably
I know, it's amazing. They are super fans.
It's what it is. Coffee and weed, my friends. Those are the things that wake up Californians. It's like the smell comes in the window of both coffee and weed because it's growing up the hill, and everybody has dude. You cannot walk down my street. I swear. I don't even grow, but people around here in Fairfax, California, holy Toledo.
Yes.
Somebody.
L&M Guitar Corner in the house. So Martin's here. He's only on mobile, so he can't tag everybody. So I'm doing on behalf.
Always appreciate it when my Austrian friends jump in.
Right.
Okay.
There. All right. And Trev mentions Breakfast of Champions. So yes. Exactly. I substitute tea instead of coffee. Easier on the gut, I found.
Yes.
So, and Commonwealth. So black tea, and and then you can make some green tea. But when I make green tea, it doesn't involve tea leaves somehow. That's a whole other kind of green tea.
Yeah, buddy.
That will not wake you up. That'll put you to sleep.
I used to do these big ass Starbucks cups with iced tea that I'd make my own tea bags that were like one of those, and you could walk around like all day, and your perspective on life was much better.
Oh yeah.
than it would have been without the iced tea helping you along your way. So,
and Charles,
I would also consider that a friend.
Love it. Charles is just looking at the screen going, why am I friends with that guy and co-hosting with that guy? I'm just along for the ride. Yep. You are, Charles. And that's why we love you.
I feel like the parent on the field trip.
I bet you do.
So Charles is the kind of friend that you just, even though he's in Texas, you send him a set of your keys. So when eventually you hang out, he can drive you home.
Yes. Exactly.
You're like, dude, just so you got a set. So when you're here, and you can drive a Geo, right? Well, maybe not. It only has first, third, and fifth, but just skip second and fourth.
Skip a gear. That's like fuel savings. You're skipping gears. Absolutely. Fuel savings.
Hell yeah! And in a Geo Metro, you're probably getting 60 miles a gallon at that point.
Exactly. Blackjack Guitar knows what we're talking. No, he doesn't. It's like I nudge them off the road when I drive by. That's easy. See, the white cookies is taking full effect, folks, is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. The white cookies is taking full effect. Should be an interesting show on my channel later tonight.
I can't wait, dude.
Yep.
I actually set a sign. Like, you know how you barter? Well, I'm married. Charles is married. You know how you barter with time with your wife? You're like, hey, honey, if I do the stuff that I don't want to do, which is this, and this, can I have at 5 o'clock? Are you going to be less angry if I just hang out and then at 7 o'clock I'm useless? I fought for that.
That's good. Yeah. Pick your battles, folks.
Right? I mean, not fought for it, but asked for it. Begged for it.
Speaking of our theme of guitar friends, right? I just want to take it.
Ops in the house. Quentin James is alive. Now it's a show.
Quentin, we have to schedule you for a Sunday, buddy. We need you as a guest.
Yeah, good luck with that. Scheduling Quentin it's hard. You gotta have your people talk to his people. I have a question. All right, Ryan, he's yelling at me. Ben! Yes. All right. When's the next Water Buffaloes? 1 week from, this coming Saturday, because we already got rid of the Saturday. So this coming Saturday. I ran it by this guy here, and I felt like it's a long weekend this weekend. Let's go deal with that, and then we'll do our Water Buffalo meeting next Saturday. So,
okay,
Eddie Faze here, and Vox Guitars Rock. I'm just shouting out everybody now, Charles, because you allowed me to do roll call. So anytime I see somebody,
it's yours for the show now. It's just.
Well, I'm a professional, because I've watched 3 different live stream channels in my life, and so I've learned everything. Because
that's all you need.
And I can't read,
all
so
you need
someone
is
else
YouTube
has
videos.
to do
Where'd
it.
you learn? YouTube.
Yeah.
Sure, I get it.
But in the spirit of our theme today, with our Brotherhood of Guitar here, I stole an idea from OU812's channel because I absolutely love this idea. Where he has taken the YouTube addresses of other YouTube channels that he likes and that support his channel, and has put them into the description of the video. And so I did that today, this morning, with our channel. So we have a link to Seth's channel, and to Ben, your channel, and to OU812's channel, and to L&M Guitar Corner, and to Music Therapy Labs, and to Herba Fireside Studios. And we will be adding more. Those were just the ones I had time, the regulars that were in here every week, and I wanted to make sure we got them acknowledged. And so Octopus Ears is getting ready to slide in there for next week. So
nice.
Hey, can you copy and paste all of them at one time? Like, go to the person that has a whole shitload of them and grab them all? Because I'm not good at typing, honestly. And if it's like Blackjack Guitar, for instance, which I want to say hi all the time, but with my dyslexia and my inability to type, and I'll usually on a phone, it would take me to go back and make sure it's right to get BLK, JK, whatever it is.
Well, that's the thing, because he uses most of the letters, but not all the letters too. And you're like, did I leave out the right letters to leave out?
Because I leave out letters anyway. Exactly right. I'm going to leave out a couple letters on my own, and then I would just keep going back and checking. Anyway, so if I had it all copied and pasted at once, it would be ideal, epic.
Yep.
That's why I put it in the description, so it's easy just to go ahead and grab, have another window open, and
Charles keeps telling me I got to put my phone number on my YouTube and my email so that people can.
Your email. You get people like calling you if you put your phone number.
I don't care about the phone number. You can call me. I put my phone number on a video the other day. Fucking call me. No one has ever called me, and I put my phone number out there a lot. The worst I would do is be like,
I am to pick up my phone and call Seth while right now, because I know he's on his phone, and then that'll just chaos.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. It'll kick me off. You could I don't think it would kick me off. It just shows up on my screen. It's like, oh, my dad texts me like when we're on, because I don't think maybe he doesn't know I'm using my phone. But I am
spite, Seth. That's spite. He knows.
The computer's over here.
To make the point on the phone number, Ben had to block me. So he regretted that decision.
Well,
those are friendships.
So many random texts involving root beer at midnight. Is what I'm saying.
In the moment, Ben.
I get it. That's all the sparkles. That's just wonderful,
isn't it? Too bad it's all the way too. I'm hoping a fellow ordered another one that's a hardtail. This one has the really nice brass block. Yeah, but that adds to the weight a lot, substantially. I'm hoping that we'll see how this hardtail comes out.
I get it.
I'll keep you in the loop, Ben, as I'm building it. Mm-hmm.
I get it. I got a big brass block sitting here, just being big and brassy. I don't know.
And waiting to go in something.
Yeah, it's like, will you buy another Floyd Rose guitar? I'm like, yeah, I have one. Thank you. Easy. Not big on the wiggle sticks. We got one.
Yep.
But it's there for when we need it. That's what I'm saying. Or not saying. I don't know.
I was playing this guitar yesterday.
Way through the show, and you've touched on the subjects. Brotherhood of the Guitar, bands, breakups, and besties. That's bands. Yep. I was thinking about that. For me. Breakup. Well, I ain't playing in any of them right now, so I assume. Right? And some of them involved besties. What's up there? See, I almost had Herb, because Ryan's saying hi to Herb. But again, the white cookies have taken full effect.
Good morning, Eddie Faye.
Well, dude, are you still friends with some of the people from the four bands?
Yeah. Like the last band I was in, which was with my best friend. I'm still friends with him. Our bass player's passed. Still friends with the drummer. I guess casual acquaintance with the singer, because she came in right at the end, and
they're singers, so they're narcissistic anyway in their own zone.
No, we have very different lifestyles.
I get it.
Worked well in a project, and such, but we have she's a at that time she was a substitute public school teacher, specializing in the lower grades. Whereas I should not be around children because they're like, do you want to end up like that in life? We're like, well, he looks kind of cool. He's got the long hair and the doodles on the arms and such. Like, no, Jimmy. You go to school, you get a degree, you have a career. Don't see. I
strongly disagree. I think that there has to be people like us in education, Ben, to teach these kids that all of those people are kind of wrong. And check out the path I took, bro. I didn't even freaking go to college, and I did everything I ever liked. And now I'm your teacher. so
that's where we get a lot of once you get into high school, like the arts and stuff, like your art teacher, hippie. A lot of times the woodshop teacher, fun fact, hippie. A lot of hippies became woodshop.
Woodshop teacher.
Yeah. Our welding teacher, again, hippie. Why? Because we're allowed to make certain kinds of pipes in welding class.
Welding teacher. Yeah.
Shop teacher, not a hippie. Fingers. Math teacher, not a hippie. But, phys ed teacher, definitely not a hippie. No.
Oh,
on our campus, we would do the opposite. Yeah. We would call out the people that are straight. Oh, those two teachers. Oh, that person's not a hippie. Everybody's a hippie.
What's up, Bo?
You gotta love this one in the chat. Cushman NYC says he got thrown out of his own band.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's Vinny Vincent.
So you know how that happened? Well, that happened for me, guys, because I was a drummer. And guess what you need if you want to be a band? It's kind of a thing. You need the drums, right?
Drums are rather important, I would say.
So we'd schedule a practice, but then what would happen is I was also a blossoming surfer, and the waves would come into town. Waves come and go. Drum sets are always there. Yeah. And so if the waves were really good and I knew it was good for like today, I would surf and like, sorry guys, no practice. And then boot, I got kicked out. Rightfully so. The next drummer was way better than me anyway. Chris Myers is way better.
And then another class act here in the Brotherhood of the Guitar from Martin of L&M Guitar Corner. He gave his classic vibe 50 Strat to his buddy Franz, who was leaving Vienna again. Excuse me.
Franz.
What's
up, Jeff K? And who else do I see sneak in here? Hang on.
Did you smuggle anything inside that guitar that's going to the other
Rico B is here. Dave Chase is here. Wow, you got quite the crowd here.
Yeah, we have some rather wonderful folks here in our chat.
Why do they come? Because they like to dance.
Okay, what Rico B says, sorry I'm late, was installing LED headlights on daughter's car. It's 9 a.m. there, Rico. You got
it could have waited
all the daylight. Doesn't need any headlights. That doesn't make sense. Well, then again, he's in Arizona. Whereas if you don't fix it by 10 a.m., you burst into flames.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
120 degrees.
Exactly.
So I get it. So,
and there could have been tunnels involved. So,
Yeah, that's where you in the chat it says comment retracted. I'm just going to delete on
that. I think 10:30 a.m. is when they go into the cave and close the vault because it's going to get so hot outside. Everything.
You put up all the blackout curtains. Every home has blackout curtains.
They're well designed. They do those houses with, a lot of foresight into the insulation. I'm sure you too, Charles, in your area, they're building with, I don't know, you told me that your garage was 110 degrees though, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Somebody's looking skinny.
That has all the ventilation.
It's helping.
I noticed that, Seth. You say that. I'm watching Charles' his latest video there yesterday, and I'm like, looks like a fellow lost a little weight. And I thought, well, I could just be moving out to the garage. I'm not sure if it's lifestyle choices that are helping with it, but I know a fellow's been sweating off about 14 pounds a week. So I'm getting it, So yeah, you're looking good, Charles, is what I'm saying. You didn't even need a kayak to do it. Look at that.
Yeah, there you go. And I've got the headroom now.
Right.
Yeah, so in that little piece that's at the end of my video where I'm walking by there, that's exactly where I would have hit my head on the kayak. So just so you know.
That's okay. Yeah, that never worked.
Yes, I always leave a comment on Charles' videos. Then you might get a text as well, something I don't want necessarily put publicly. Which last night, Seth, was I took a screenshot because Charles was being all fancy with his picture-in-picture. And I was like, how does a fella have a picture-in-picture involving two cameras, and in both cameras I see an artificial Christmas tree in August? It's a shot. So I'm like, help a fella understand. And he says, well, a fella's wife tends to like Christmas trees. Went, fair enough.
When you see him, you get it.
So mean. I'm like, I saw a few edits. I'm not going to lie. Because he pulled it. He's like, well, he's looking at the car. He's like, might as well polish the frets. Where's my polishing equipment? Nowhere to be found. Yep, been there. Perfect. Yeah. And then, and he used all the oils. He's just like dipped the neck in a vat of oil or something. I don't know, but perfect. Because what you don't need, you wipe away. It's better to use too much than not enough. That's my opinion too. Because you don't want to leave that wood grasping for moisture. So,
you soak it. And then you walk away, and then you come back. Let it all seep in, and you should still be wiping away excess after a few minutes. Let it soak in, because you might not touch that guitar.
I'm not going to call him publicly. I'm not going to say what Charles missed during the deal, but he missed something.
Yes, but Charles did address that afterwards.
Good. Yeah, I'm like, you'll fix it in post. He's like, I'll fix it in post. I'm like, good. Yeah. Something's looking a little ashy looking. Just
well, here's the really funny thing about it. I'm sitting there, and I got your comments back in the video, right? And I was like, yep, you're right. I need to do that. And I went and did it as soon as I got your comment. Like,
you forgot to hit the bridge with the 101.
I forgot to hit the bridge with the F1, and I was just like, dummy move.
Well, at least you can go back and do that. I mean, that's
and you can tell the previous owner did the same thing, because I noticed the fretboard looked much darker than the bridge to begin with, and I was like, please tell me you're going to oil that too. Please tell. I'm like, but then again, that's one of those things. Not everybody realizes that they always oil fretboards, but you're used to watching, like, say, electric guitar setups with a rosewood fretboard, so the bridge doesn't come into the equation. But it's like, no, anywhere there's bare, untreated wood, you have to seal or moisturize that stuff. Otherwise, it cracks. And you'll get a nice crack right through all your peg holes.
Well, and also being super, super dry gives it the higher potential for it to crack with the glue that's bonding it to the surface of the guitar. So then you get a lifting bridge where not to say it won't eventually lift anyway, but the potential of it happening when it's nicely moisturized and well taken care of is less.
That's right.
Yeah. And so it was, but I'm sitting here, but I was, going over your comments. I was like, yeah. And then I had this moment where, like you're talking about, where I put all the too much oil on the fretboard, and I missed an opportunity.
Oh
yeah. Because I missed the opportunity to say, that's too much. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, then you end up with people commenting on your videos. Like, I had someone commented because I did a Les Paul setup last week and put out. Mm-hmm. And then the comment was, someone watches a lot of Vice Grip Garage, so I replied, a fellow might.
Going back to our topic for a minute, Octopus here says the guy used to play drums for him, stole his girlfriend. Still not happy about that.
See, that's the thing.
Dude,
that was one of, I won't say exactly like that, but a similar was one of the deciding factors in leaving a band. And so not to throw somebody under the bus, but I kind of made a point, because when I split up with my girlfriend, fiance, I said, guy, pick a side, basically, unfriend her on the socials, you're with me, and one band member decided to maintain a friendship. And I went, oh, okay. Duly noted. And then that was one of the reasons. And then a deciding factor, he went on a drunken rant against me. You're blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, well, I quit the band. And by the way, I own half the PA system. So good luck at your gig next week.
Oh.
Well, that is an interesting story. And
see, that's the thing. Friendships, right?
Yeah.
Friendships are whack.
And I will say I've never been kicked out of a band, but I walked away. We've had 2 breakup. I walked away from 2. And one going in, it was kind of a jam band situation, which is fine. But I said, like, Seth, you say, hey, Ben, like, why don't you come in and be the second guitar player, blah, 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 compliment me, take a lead, whatever. I'm like, yeah, cool, fun. But I'll tell you, as soon as I stop having fun, Seth, I'm walking away.
That's right.
Because it's not a serious band. We're not trying to be famous. It's just, doing a thing, side project, if you will.
Yep.
I don't do drama and I don't play games. So, like if you got that one band member, every time they come in, oh, I'm late because of blah, 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 blah. Save it.
I don't want to hear it.
Band, and I got a weird message from them. We're coming up on, I've been with the band a couple of months and we barely practiced. And somehow the set list was different than the stuff we had even practiced, or he changed the arrangement. I'm like, all right, well, I might as well just fly by the seat of my pants. And all of a sudden, it was like somebody canceled our gig at a local bar. Like somebody called in pretending they were a member of the band, saying, "Hey, can't play Friday night." And
somebody sabotaged you.
And I was like, okay, I'm okay with that. I could use the Friday off. But then I got a call for another band I'm in. Hey, can you guys fill in on Friday night? I'm like, no, can't do that. That's kind of a conflict of interest because if you happen to play in multiple bands all the time, folks, you never double dip. Like, hey, I'll scam this gig away from my one band for my other band. You don't do that.
Right.
Right.
So I said, no. And I just went, yeah, this is weird. Like, I don't know what's going on. And I just said, I'm done. So I'm walking away. And that was it. And I think Richie was in that band as well. Yeah, he had joined as a bass player. And then I think he took over my role. Man, it's like every gig was a different lineup of people, I swear. Like, I played bass one night. I played guitar half a dozen times. Same drummer each time, I think. And drummer quit right after me, too. And he became a drummer in Honey Badgers as well. So that was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the guy who started the other band, he's like, hey, that drummer, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I think he's pretty damn good myself. But I don't know what you're complaining about. And he was like complaining about stuff that wasn't even real. Like, oh, he's always doing this. I'm like, no, he isn't. It's like, oh, he's always drunk at gigs. He has one beer, literally one beer, after load in, and then he's good for the night. So I don't see how, so. And the thing is, being in a band, it does very much become a fraternity or a brotherhood. These guys do become, because it's weird because it's like you have a cool job, Charles, and you enjoy your coworkers that are immediately around you that you work with each day. That's one thing, because you got to be hitting on all cylinders for a band to really work well. You can't be having, Smiley Bob over here who barely puts in his effort. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because literally when you have a band and everybody is firing correctly, it's like the sum of its parts are way bigger. It's exponentially so much. When you're grooving, you're like, God, this is on point. This sounds like a record,
Mm-hmm.
But as such, then emotions get involved, and when it can go south, bands can break up. It's like a marriage that breaks up. You're like, I never want to see that. See you next Tuesday ever again in my life, and I have band members that I haven't talked to in years because there is still a little bitterness there.
Well, the battle between guitarists usually starts with the mid-range knob. You end up turning up or dialing up, and then you're like trying to fight with the other guitarist. I'm like, hey, hold on, you're taking out my space. And then you stop firing on all cylinders like that. And exactly. I had so many rotating people coming through when I would play music as a band. I called it the moment, because whenever we played, it was usually a different lineup. And so the moment was appropriate. I stole it from like one of my favorite song titles. It's like, oh, the moment, I'll use that as a band name because I can never get the same 3 people twice. So, and it just kind of fit. Although I haven't played out in forever, and that might be a little bit of adrenaline that's missing, right? And the camaraderie of going out to the
playing out so much in one respect. My back does not miss playing out. It's like, really, dude? You want to stand with a guitar hanging off you for a few hours? Well, no. Can I just play like SRV style? I'll, like mid set, I'll just show up all sweaty and sit in a chair.
There you go.
Cool.
Well, Guitar Man 45, he's got this thing right. He has got this thing right. He is hanging with family around the campfire. Whoa. And we were in a chat last night, and we got an update. Not only were they sitting around the fire with the family and having a good time, but there were root beer floats involved and s'mores.
Ooh. Holy sugar rush. Yes, I'm in. Thank you.
And I got a direct chat from Guitar Man 45 himself letting me know that in the chat last night. So
nice. Was it A&W Cane Sugar root beer, which comes highly recommended by those interwebs and outer webs?
I don't know if it was or wasn't, but I'm willing to bet it was at least A&W coming from him.
Hopefully.
Probably.
Smart man would.
He's not a cheap guy.
Well, with ice cream. Oh. Yeah, I was just looking at the chat too. People talk about, bands are like families and one, like saying band members can come and go, but the essence of the band or the band's identity will stay the same. And I having to say it because the band I was with the longest, which was my first band, which we played original material, and I was joining a band that already had 4 independent albums out by that point. Had been around the better part of a decade. They played everything from a 3-piece up to a 5-piece. They were currently a 4-piece. I came in as the second guitar player, but I knew what I'm stepping into a role. This is what they do. This is what they sound like. They had, so when they're like, we want you to, dye the gray out of your hair, dye the gray out of your beard, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I get it. Because we're projecting an image. And then, after a couple of years and seeing things, having grown up in the music business and seeing the business side of things not being handled correctly, I started to, and I'll be honest, folks, if you're a well-oiled machine as a band, you can play 8 out of 10. The crowd's never going to notice. Your bandmates may notice a bit, but if they're also kind of phoning it in a certain amount, they're not going to notice. So, that got to, instead of having 1 or 2 cold snacks before we went on stage, a fellow might have half a dozen cold snacks before going on stage and not caring, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that can
I think you could get to like 50% of the band's performance level, and the crowd will start to really notice and be like, what the hell, when it's really bad, right? Because we want to see a good show. We almost like people stumbling and being assholes, but if it sounds terrible too, that's too much.
Yeah.
Well, there is an update on Bo in the root beer. It was, in fact, A&W. There's still a little bit left, so there may be some more floats later on. So, nice. Important update to have.
Yes.
Herba Fireside Video says he quit the band scene due to all the drama that comes along with it. Yep. And Michael Brown gives us a good piece of information. He says, deciding factor in leaving a band, that damn singer. He's sober now, but still has no real contact.
Yeah. There's been, it's like a couple. I've dealt with a couple singers, not even in my own band, but just dealing with singers. Like, oh, thank God you have a wonderful voice, because you'd be homeless otherwise. I'm thinking of one guy in particular. He had an amazing rock voice, very much, let's say, like a Paul Rogers, a very strong rock voice. An attractive gentleman, we'll say, but man, he had 0 life skills beyond being able to sing and look pretty. And
He was like Sebastian Bach, is what you're saying. He was basically Sebastian
Well, I'm
Bach.
not saying Sebastian Bach, because
Oh,
this guy
well, you said zero life skills, pretty, and can sing.
Knock the foot off the height, though.
Oh, okay. All right. But Sebastian Bach was cool AF. I owe that dude. Yeah. Anyway, he pulled me on stage to let me do a stage dive in Fresno. He said, "You want to come on stage?"
About an hour and a half away from here. Just up this
Where's that? Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna come up. All right. Then when I come up, we're gonna go hang out with Sebastian Bach because he's cool AF. From what I've seen, I don't know. But from when he pulled me on stage to let me do that stage dive when I was like 20 something, that's when I knew we were gonna be friends. Okay. But we didn't have time right then. He was on tour and all that. He was busy. So now that we're both in our late 40s and 50s, I think it's time for me and Seabass to catch up. So I should come up there, hang out.
So Seth, Rico B has a question I think you're probably best suited to answer here. And he says, "Hey, gents, any copper shielding advice? Start at the bottom or the sides first?"
I would say use copper.
Got that part.
That's all I know.
Whether he should start on the bottom of the cavity or do the sides first.
I don't think it really matters. I think either way, as long as you're connected, like have a little tiny bit of overlap, right? It's easier for you to get.
Oh, because I just thought of it. When you're buying the copper stuff, make sure the glue is conductive. Because otherwise, then you gotta scrape it and scratch it to make sure you have metal on metal, which is a hassle factor of 49% more. Whereas if you get the one with the conductive glue, it don't matter. And then I would do
Ben, what I do is I fold it down further, make a lip, and then fold that down almost upside down, and then let the metal touch the metal, and then the glue goes up the side of the thing.
Right.
Does that make any sense? It's a terrible description, dude. But if you were here, we could. So I just fold a little lip, and then put it, and then use the sticker so that the metal's touching. Because I know exactly what you're saying. I've done it before, and I was like, "Why the hell is this guitar so loud?" And because I had run the glue from the backing down onto the other piece of the sheet, and I had to go back and do the whole thing. So
sweet. All right, I got approval from Martin, Charles. That means something because Martin knows his stuff. So I like that.
And what did Martin say?
Thanks, Ben. I was just about to write that.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, conductive glue. Yeah, it's a big deal. I'm very rare I ever use that stuff though. Insulate and removing noise. No, I don't mind fairly noisy. 60 cycle hum, that's fine.
So
now, if it's excessive, you have a ground issue more than wire.
Yeah, if you're curing something, exactly, you might be curing, or you might be
more if you're really microphonic pickups and stuff, and
$5 or $6, black shielding paint.
That's where I was going to go with that. I was going to ask the question because I know that you use both, Seth, both the copper shielding tape and the paint. And so, does it matter one over the other, or is it just potato?
It matters which one I have in house at the time, right? So I usually use this because it's less expensive and it's faster. And it works really, really well. So for all those reasons, yes. Some people
end up with 28 different micro cuts in your fingers from handling sharp copper.
Yes. Oh my God, the pain of that. Yes, but I use.
You don't even realize it, and then a fellow might spill a little whiskey on his finger, and you're like, "Woo!" I didn't realize I was that mangled up.
But I'll work on guitars that already have copper shielding on them, and if I'm doing that and I'm going underneath, you want to have this to be able to replace it, and know. But I don't often build, and unless maybe it would look cool inside the cavity, I might do that at some point just for the aesthetic, because I do the open pickup cover on my Telecaster humbucker guitars,
right?
That one is there's no shielding in there; it's an open cavity.
Right. And so the black
like a Charvel kind of.
Well, in the chat we have Vox Guitar Rocks. He says, "How do you know when your drummer shows up at the door? The knock is faster. The knock on the door speeds up."
It starts out like that, and then it's Tommy's here.
Yeah, or with the drumsticks on the door. We know you're a drummer. It's like easy.
I know.
You know? Yeah. Somebody asked, "Can you use tinfoil?" No, you shouldn't. Hassle. It's
that only works for aluminum caps.
Yeah, it only works for
aliens away.
You
have to. I mean, but I would say if you have an aluminum cap on your head as you're applying the copper shielding, it's a better way to go because the aliens can't get in while you're doing the shielding.
That's right.
So yes, they were partially right.
Yeah. And you should do it while inside a Faraday cage as well. Just because nobody says Faraday cages enough in guitar live streams. And why would they? I don't know.
But it's a commonly searched term, Ben. So thank you. Now they can find us.
Right? The more you know.
The more. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I invited myself on again. What else we got here? Bands, breakups.
Yeah.
Now, one of the reasons for leaving the original band, Charles, I was told. Well, what happened was I'm playing in one band, and then another band was reforming that I used to do sound for that involved my best friend playing in the band. And so I said, hey, since you're reforming, want to do a 5-piece, which I'd been offered that role previously, but I was rather busy in the last iteration. And so sure. Well, normally that band only played like 4 or 5 times a year. Perfect as a side piece, jam together once a week or every week, 2 weeks, whatever, and then play a show once every blue moon. Turned out that became high demand, and then when my main band is like, hey, we've got offered a gig this weekend, I'm like, I can't do it. Well, what do you mean you can't do it? They're like, part of the deal is being in this band, you got to be available. Just don't worry about weddings, birthday. You give all that stuff up because you're playing as much as possible. I already have a gig. And he's like, well, you're going to need to cancel it. And I said, well, I make 10 times playing a set with that band, not 10 times, 5 times, we'll say 5 times.
Okay.
Great. And so I was, no, I am not quitting or that gig. So then he said, I knew this would happen. I said, what? When you join that other band, I knew this would happen. You're going to end up leaving this band. I'm like, how do you feel like? He goes, because you're playing in another band with your best friend. Well, touche.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we're good friends, but he is my friend. And playing totally different music, which was more stuff that I was aligned with as opposed to the original band. Again, joining an existing band, we sound like I've heard, I've used some of the stuff on my channel for intro music, like Scream and stuff. It was a heavy band, It's not exactly my thing. So.
No, and we have folks talking about things in the chat as well. And Eddie Fay says he's always been really interesting about how those stories about how bands kind of coalesce and come together. And I think it tells you a lot. It tells you a lot about people and how those things kind of happen, how people fall in with each other. You never know, right? It all comes from a simple thing of you bumped into a guy, looking at a guitar, or you bought a guitar from a guy, or whatever the case may be. You were checking out someone's board on a show.
Yeah, like you get a lot of family members, 2 brothers that play, or cousins, or stuff like that. Like the first band I was in, one of the reasons we're a 5-piece. Oh, we can vote on everything, Seth. Every band member gets a vote, right? And you're like 5-piece, perfect. There'll be no ties. But when you have the lead singer,
people that side together, right? Yes. Exactly.
Okay. Well, the lead player is the lead singer's brother. The drummer is the lead singer's son. Well, there's a voting block of 3. So the bass player and me were kind of, because they were totally always would vote with, younger brother always voted with the older brother, and son always voted alongside father. So I'm like,
how I get to see my my early band members when I was in high school. I was in a rock band called Unjust, and they're incredibly heavy. They did albums and toured after they kicked me out, or after I quit, whatever. So there was a funeral. That's how we see our friends now, right? Someone dies, and you all get together at the funeral. So about 4 months ago, I got to get a picture with myself, my buddy Russ Tabioyan, my buddy Paul Mendoza, my buddy John Ochoa, and Patrick McNerney. Those were the people in the original Unjust, or the original one that actually gigged. Okay.
Right.
And that was a thing. Like, we're not super close friends anymore because, I don't know, we all grew up and we all did different shit. Some friends are closer, like Patrick and Paul are still, I don't know, some people are closer, but I've always been a loner anyway. I've been like, leave me alone, I'm surfing. But like, it was cool to see everybody and like see everybody grown up and old and kind of, you know, doing good and doing not so good and whatever. So even though you don't maintain friendships, you might be in a band with somebody and see them 25 years later and be able to have that moment of, wow, man, that was cool being young and we're still alive.
I ran into my old drummer recently at an event at Long McQuaid. I went to, it was a drum clinic, go figure. And I went, the idea being is maybe I can network with a local drummer and we can start doing something. The one drummer I talked to is my old drummer. I'm like, I know you, Shane. He's like, oh, if you need me for anything, let me know. I'm like, you're already playing in 2 or 3 bands.
Right.
I don't talk to my stuff, so. But, yeah, we'll remain friends. But we parted on good. Again, that's the thing. You can part on good ways, but chances are, like, if you got a 4-piece band and you're breaking up, you may be still friends with one band member or even 2. But chances are you're not going to remain friends with all 3 of them.
Right.
Because there's a reason it broke up in the first place. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Because of my surfing.
Somebody asked me a question. There we go. Eddie Fay. So, Ben, what's up, Eddie? Does it spur more creativity if you're in a band with another guitar player who has quite different interests, or is it more important that you're on the same musical wave? I like different, but mutually harmonistic. Okay, not completely. Okay, like we can't have like Seth's into death metal and I'm into bluegrass. It's not going to work. But if Seth's into blues rock and I'm into funk, there's some overlap there that can work and diversify. I think so because
Red Hot Chili Peppers, like that's a good example, right? Of Frashante.
Faith No More. Look at Faith No More. They were from all different angles.
Especially when they had Jim, the big haired Jim.
Jim Martin
early. Yeah, he had a tone, didn't he? He had a tone.
Awesome.
He's now a pumpkin farmer in Half Moon Bay, 40 miles south of me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can create
that. Happens.
The half staff there out on the pumpkin patch, don't you know?
Yeah.
And, hey, there's Michael B. What's up, Michael B?
Ben, you want to fill that Eddie Fay question here on the screen?
I just answered that, Charles. That was the question. Answer.
I can actually read them now. That's
yes.
Yes.
I prefer, similar but not completely different. But I don't think you'd be in a band with people that play completely different. Like, we sounded similar to Godsmack, which I'm not into, but I could hear some Sabbath in that. It was riff-based heavy music, which I dug because, into Pantera, which was riff-based heavy rock, I like. And then also, because the chief songwriting was the other guitar player and, say, singer with lyrics, or the 2 of them together. Because, again, they live together as well. So they were always working on something. Hey, we brought this. And then I would just find either I could fall in line playing the same riff and the bass player following the same riff as well. So then it's just a riff-based song. Or I'll figure out another part that complements it over top. Not necessarily lead work, but maybe I'm going to Ace Frehley it and play the chords an octave higher. Who knows? Just something.
Well, dude, I'll tell you this much. So Todd from Toad the Wet Sprocket, like a lot of the times, because they have, the lead guy does a lot of the song writing of, he'll come to the like, here's some chords, here's this and that. But I've heard Glenn on his own with his chords, and then you hear what Todd does to it, and it wouldn't be the same without those melodic pieces that are the glue. They're the fabric. They're that mid-tone glue. So they're meeting up with the lyric, right? And they're grabbing those notes and they're connecting it all. And it's freaking genius. Sometimes you wonder, how many times does he go over, like Ben, how many times do you go over as you're laying down to get that moment where you know it's the, so like that's a talent, right? That's the shit.
Oh yeah, I remember like we near the end of playing it, because the song never got recorded that I know of. A ballad was brought, because we did quite a few ballads. The ladies like the ballads; they like the slow songs. And then the guys don't yell, "Oh, I want to rock!" Oh, no, you don't. You want a handful of slow songs so you can dance with your lady. So there's that. And so they brought that, and I went, you know what? This needs that. I'm like, I'm just going to play acoustic on it. And they're like, well, that's a hassle because now I got to bring an acoustic to every show for one song. But bring it around, Charles. I also brought, I had, which is in the workshop, you see the stool that's also a guitar stand.
Yes.
Well, that's I had for the acoustic, so a fella could just bring the stool out. So a fella got to sit down for a song halfway through the 90-minute set.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when you get the acoustic, you obligatorily get the stool as well, right? Because you've earned it at that point.
That's right. And you say, well, did you just run the acoustic, through a DI into the board? No. Did you bypass, not even use the DI and go directly into the board? No. I just unplugged the Lester Pulphus shaped object, plugged the acoustic right into my pedal board, into my half stack, turned off as much gain as possible. Might add a little chorus, a little delay, whatever.
Right.
And boom.
A little dibby dab, a little something.
Yeah, and I used what was that?
This will get you in a pinch.
200, which had both a magnetic and a piezo in it, so you can blend. Those are great. I need to get one of those. I have the
just in a pinch, right? So you don't have to if you're like, oh shit, my acoustic has a broken string and I'm headed to the show.
Yes, I have a similar Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Base.
Are they believable? Are they believable?
I use it on live streams, Charles, on my channel.
I found like two settings that were passable. I used
it makes it sound like that shitty mid-scoop Takamine sound from the 80s, which, whatever, you're on stage. That's what's going to sound like.
Right, but see, the reason why I was asking, I know you've done it on your stream and on your shows, but hearing it live is different from hearing it through YouTube, right?
There is that. I didn't own this when I still played out.
If you had a 20 band EQ, you can do the same exact thing that you're going to get from this. Yeah. But you would just have to take the time. Even a 5 band, you can get pretty far and pull your electric guitar sound and make it more acoustic. But
Bo is saying
it does it for you.
Yeah, and Bo is saying he didn't use any simulator. He used 2 Yamaha acoustics back then, and it makes 3. One was
I just noticed this. Maybe it'll show up on the camera, but you see there at the top, it actually says reverb inside that little. Yeah. So it's got its own reverb too.
Is it
go back and mess with that?
Yeah, separate wheel at the base of it.
Oh, by the way, when I'm going to play on upcoming shows, I found the set list, so we got a stack of set lists to go through.
The set list.
What should I play? Well, I'll just grab a set list and take a look and see if I can remember any of these songs, which not so much.
Well, see, now Guitar Man 45 has gotten everybody talking about 12 strings. Vox Guitar Rock says, I love the sound with 12 string, but it's got 8 strings he doesn't use.
I would say, Ben, when you did the one acoustic guitar song and you sit down, I totally would have done because I used to have long hair, do the fan. So you sit down, it's like the fucking fan coming up and you're, hold on, little girl. It's like, that's the moment, bro. I love it. That's so good.
Oh,
yeah. Oh my God, to be that, what was that? XS? What was the name of that band? They were
that was Mr. Big.
Mr. Big. Really good.
Well, don't forget when Extreme did that song acoustically too.
Oh, I think it was Extreme is the one I was thinking of.
Well, yeah, you do More Than Words or Wholehearted.
Yeah, More Than Words. Yeah.
I got punched in the face at a Goo Goo Dolls concert in Hawaii on New Year's Eve. Yeah, cold cock because this dude was in the way, and I wanted him to move so like his big ass and his girlfriend could like, if he had his girlfriend in front, then my girlfriend could stand there and we could all see the show. And I tapped him on his shoulder. I remember it was like up. I was like, dude, hey, you think about it? And he's like, no, I came all the way from Buffalo to see the Goo Goo Dolls. And I said, oh, honey, I'm sorry, Mr. Goo Goo Gaga Goo Goo. And that's all I got out. And then I saw, ding. The next thing I saw was shoes.
Buffalo Boys.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. I guess I'll have to field this because it's Canadian content. That's how that works. Whatever happened to Honeymoon Suite? They're still playing. Still, all, and as far as I know, all original members. Well, maybe not the bass player, but who pays attention to the bass players?
All right, so there is a question in chat, and I'm going to be completely selfish and put it out there because I need this information too. All so right. Martian Marie is getting ready to do his first 12-string change. And
good luck.
So am I.
I know. And I was thinking that. I saw that. And I'm like, so is Charles.
Can we get some little tutorage here in our last few minutes?
Yeah, you should do it live. You should definitely do it live. There's no difference between doing. By the way, it was funny. I was going to go back to your previous video for a sec. When the nut got knocked out, I missed that part. But I was thinking previously, I was like, I wonder, I'm like, has Charles ever had the nut just fall out? I was going to, and then it happened. And then I noticed, then Charles, he tells us, like Brill Cream, a little dab will do ya. But then you think he's going to lay down some fabric on the guitar. He's like all the glue and then all the squeeze out. And he's got nothing to wipe. He finds the rag off the floor covered in who knows what. Oh, that worked. I was like, this is totally like one of my videos. Just a word of advice. Put the glue on the nut, not in the trough, but on the nut first, because then you can wipe away the excess before you see what I'm saying. I'm just okay, but that was awesome.
2 tiny controlled dabs and then blip. But yes, that's amazing. It's so good.
See, that's so good. Controlled dab was the plan. The glue did not.
I agree.
Well, because it's like 139 degrees out there, so it's got the consistency of rubbing alcohol, so it's out. But to your point of doing a 12-string, it's the exact same as a 6, only twice as many strings. You're still going to want to condition the fretboard, condition the bridge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Even more important.
And it just scared me with your notch straight edge with apparently the razor corners. And you're like, oh, we're just going to slide it in under the guitar. I'm like, that came so close to just sawing. I was like, oh. Now I'm like, now I know how you guys feel watching my videos. So I'm like, like,
I would measure my relief
around the corner.
I would measure my relief with the strings on, though, because what you're getting with the strings off is what the relief is when there is no tension.
Yes.
So it's not going to be accurate to what it is when you've got the strings back on.
Yes.
So there's that.
I will say yes. And to follow on to that, in theory, if you set the fretboard straight with zero relief without the strings,
it'll pull it back.
It should pull it into the correct relief. Right. In theory. But that's assuming
which is exactly what Charles had. His was basically perfect.
You got lucky because
so
he has
went
the
back
property of wood. But if for some reason if you got a slightly flaky neck, straight might put it into say 15 thou relief. So you actually have to put it into a slight back bow prior, but like Seth said, check it before you remove the strings, and then yep, that's fine, and then see what happens. And because that's good, then you put away that mental note. You're like, okay, so I know I got beautiful relief. It goes straight without the strings. That then you can check it at any time, any place. Good to go. But yeah, other than that, polish. Apparently, Charles starts with a grit higher than I even finish with when polishing frets. So I can just imagine. I want Charles.
You guys are killing me.
And I'm like, I only go up to 1 thou. What's up, lad?
You're killing me. You're wasting your time. 600 grit, 1500 grit, steel wool. Done. And also, like, here's the thing. Use the checklist. And at the beginning of the checklist, it has an area for you to write down what the measurements are when you get the guitar initially, what your action is, all that. And then as you go down the checklist, everything's there for you. and you feel accomplished after. I have checklists that I will send you for free if you email me. You'd have to watch my most recent video, and you have to subscribe because I'm somebody unsubscribed. I'm down to 117. I think it was my mom again.
I
sorry.
printed off a stack like this of checklists.
Yes.
Our good friend Phil McKnight from Know Your Gear, he made a checklist years ago, and he's like, "Oh, just go on over to the website."
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Off. So
it's
I did.
The same thing.
And a buddy of mine who does guitar repairs well, he uses the checklist. I doodled on the back of like 3 of them, and then the rest went into the recycling. So my checklist is up in the cranium. So whatever gets checked is on the list. And if it didn't get checked, folks, well, it must not have been on the list that week. And that's what I'm going to go with. And
so you can tell when you play a guitar, right? So sometimes your checklist, when you've done it for years and years, is just by feel. You pick up a guitar and you can tell, and usually it's only 1 or 2 things on the checklist that's off on a guitar that's been already playing well and now needs a little something. So no biggie.
So I got to put a guitar on the bench tomorrow, and I got to shoot a demo like now. Which apparently I didn't do a demo on the LPD Lucent, and I was looking for. I thought I did. I got one. I assumed I did a demo on it, but apparently not. So
here's the thing: just bring it tonight and use it in the jam. Like you're usually, playing some music and giving us some tones. Just have that one plugged in, and then you could clip from that.
Oh, it's been on the board for a week and a half, Seth. I used it last Monday.
Double duty. Oh, when you don't have the Charles 75N split screen double cam.
Nobody was asking. Wait, what's your tone signal path this week? Had someone asked, they would have known. But since they didn't, I didn't.
It was on there.
And I've already made another change for tomorrow night's Canucks show. There's already been a change on the board from last week to this week, which I'm not going to mention as well.
All right.
Yeah. But if somebody asked during the show, I will say it. That's fine.
Mental note.
All right. Well, so we are actually over that time.
We did
an hour.
Well, that's my fault because I'm long-winded and bad-mouthed. No. Bad-winded and long-mouthed? No.
Yeah, it's our fault. It's all good. It was fun, dude. You
rails,
guys, it's
fun.
Off.
There's the rails over there.
In a hot temper. So no, but Ben, thank you for coming on.
Charles.
That's Seth.
He's Ben.
Ben. Y'all are y'all.
You guys are all you.
Thank you, everybody, for another great show. Go ahead and go check out Music Therapy Last, who is going live now. We certainly appreciate you. Ben, thank you for coming on the show today.
I'll be live tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Charles might be joining me on my group hang tonight. I don't know. We'll see. It depends on the negotiate. Back to the beginning of the show, negotiations with the wife. We'll see.
Contract negotiations. Yeah,
slide open for you, Charles. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, there is a seat. There's a seat on the bus, huh?
Yeah. Bent Tom's joining in. Hip Metal Works, and well, maybe you. So far.
But I am not invited because I'm a B list.
Why'd you put in the StreamYard link, Charles? That's not a YouTube channel. That's a StreamYard link.
Uh-oh.
You're going to get some people. The green room is filling up.
Everybody just come on in. Come on in.
That's yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's what we're on right now. If you want to join us for the end of the show, click that link. And Charles,
that'd be fun to get how many people can come in the last minute. We'll stay on till 1:05.
Yeah, you can take her up to 6 at least.
There we go. All right. With that,
perfect.
Gotta love it.
With that.